Never ride the red bus after midnight, or you'll never get off. You probably think all urban legends are just that, stories to scare kids or bore teenagers. That's what I thought too, until last month. Where I live, there's a rule we were all taught growing up: never get on the red bus after midnight. Not a bus with a red logo, or a bus that's a little maroon from rust. No, a bus that is entirely blood red, with no number or destination on the front. They say it only appears when the clock strikes 12:01 a.m. If you see it, you look away. If you hear it, you plug your ears. If you feel the ground rumble under your feet and the air goes thick and warm, you run. And if you make the mistake of getting on, you follow the rules exactly. Because if you don't, you won't ever get off. I didn't believe it. That night, I was walking back from a late shift, half asleep, when I heard it, the heavy, screeching brakes, the groan of old metal. I looked up and there it was, idling by the curb, impossibly red, almost pulsing like something alive. The doors yawned open with a hiss. I should have walked away. Instead, maybe because of exhaustion, maybe because of curiosity, I stepped inside. The driver didn't look up. His face was shadowed under a grimy cap, his hands bone-thin and gripping the wheel too tightly. I dropped a coin into the slot out of instinct, and the door slammed shut behind me like a trap. The inside of the bus was suffocating. The lights flickered weakly, and the other passengers weren't quite right. Some were twisted like melted wax figures, some whispered nonsense under their breath, and some stared at me with hollow, empty eyes. I remembered the town rules. Shaking, I pulled out my phone and reread the list I saved years ago. The rules for surviving the red bus. 1. Do not sit in the first 3 rows. They belong to the ones who almost escaped. 2. Don't speak unless spoken to, and lie if you must. Truth will tether you here. 3. If someone offers you food, decline politely. It's not for the living. 4. Cover your watch, hide your phone. Time belongs to the bus once you're on. 5. When the bell rings, you have one stop to get off, but only if the driver looks at you. 6. Never, ever, look at your reflection in the bus windows. It is not yours anymore. I clutched my phone so tightly my knuckles ached. Hard hammering, I moved carefully down the aisle, ignoring the passengers' twitching heads, their murmured invitations. The first 3 rows glistened wetly, as if something unseen had been sitting there, waiting. I slid into a cracked seat midway down. Across from me, a woman with a drooping face smiled too wide and muttered, "You're just in time." The bus jerked forward. Outside the windows, there wasn't a street, or even a world, just endless dark shapes writhing like worms in mud. Every few minutes, a bell chimed, low and heavy, making the floor vibrate. I glanced at the driver. Nothing. He didn't move. I waited. The second time the bell rang, a child with empty black holes for eyes stood up and shuffled toward the door, melting into the blackness outside. I don't know how long I rode. Time doesn't work right on the red bus. My phone was dead, my watch stopped ticking. My mind started slipping too, voices whispered to me, promising things I wanted to hear. A second chance. A way to see my dead mother. To fix mistakes. To escape the regret gnawing at my heart. And when the woman beside me turned and offered me a crumpled sandwich wrapped in stained paper, my hands almost moved on their own. Decline politely, I remembered. My voice cracked as I said, "No, thank you," bowing my head. She hissed, and her skin peeled back to reveal something pulsing and insectal underneath. Finally, the bell rang a third time. I forced myself to look up. The driver, for the first time, met my eyes. His pupils were slits, vertical and deep red. My entire body screamed to move, but I staggered down the aisle, ignoring the hands brushing at my coat, the voices begging me to stay. I stumbled to the door. It opened with a grinding screech. I fell onto cold asphalt. It was dawn, faint and gray. The bus doors slammed behind me, and when I turned, it was already vanishing, sucked into the mist like a bad dream. Except, I don't think I ever truly left it. Every night now, I hear the distant rumble of brakes when the clock strikes 12:01. I see flashes of red out of the corner of my eye. And sometimes, in the reflections of puddles or windows, I see a version of myself, sitting halfway down the aisle of that bus, still trapped, still waiting to come home. I gave you the rules. Remember them. Write them down. Burn them into your mind. Because if you ever hear the red bus screech to a stop behind you after midnight, you'll only get one chance. And most people? They don't even realize they're already seated. That's the thing no one warns you about. The moment you step onto the red bus, your mind starts splitting in two. One part keeps walking home, Thinks you're safe, tells you it was just the wind, just a dream you'll laugh about later. The other part stays behind, trapped in a rusted seat, watching through your own dimmed eyes as the world grows colder, quieter, wrong. Over time, the part of you that's left walking becomes emptier, thinner. People start looking through you, forgetting your name mid-sentence, forgetting you altogether. Eventually, you'll feel your reflection start to lag, to twitch a second too late. You'll hear your own laughter behind you when your mouth is closed. That's how it begins. That's how you know the red bus is calling you back, and next time, you won't resist it. I thought I was safe because I got off. I told myself I survived. Weeks went by and I pushed the memories deep into a locked box in my mind. I stopped mentioning it to friends. I stopped checking the windows after midnight. But some nights, I swear I still felt the seatbelt tightening across my lap, even while lying in bed. I could hear the low hum of the wheels turning, smell the rotten, iron-sweet stench of the bus air. My dreams filled with flickering lights and the screech of unseen brakes. And one night, not long ago, I made the mistake of checking the mirror at 12:01 a.m. I didn't see myself. I saw the version of me still trapped on the bus, gaunt, hollow-eyed, with a twitching smile that stretched too wide. And behind that version, a crowd of melted, muttering figures, all pressed close, their hands resting on my shoulders like I belonged to them. As I stared, frozen, the reflection slowly lifted a hand and tapped on the glass, even though I was standing perfectly still. 1, 2, 3 times. A heavy bell tolled somewhere deep in my chest. I ran from the mirror. I smashed every reflective surface in my house, covering windows and screens with sheets and towels. I stopped answering the phone when it rang after midnight. I stopped opening the door when knocks came in threes. I thought I could hide. But tonight something changed. The world outside is different now. Thicker. Like wading through syrup. Every streetlight buzzes and pops when I walk under it. Strangers glance at me and quickly look away, as if they see something over my shoulder they don't want to acknowledge. And worst of all, I keep catching flashes of blood-red metal sliding along the edge of my vision, just beyond the trees, around the corner, waiting at empty intersections. I understand now. You don't escape the red bus. You don't beat it. The moment you step on, even for a second, you're marked. You're promised. You're simply buying time. Tonight is the last night I have. I can feel the pull, like invisible hands wrapping around my ribs, tugging me toward the door. I can hear the engine idling outside, coughing thick smoke into the air. I already know what's waiting for me. My seat, halfway down the aisle, cracked and glistening wet. The driver will be smiling this time, I'm sure of it. He'll tip his cap, and there won't be a choice left to make. I'm writing this now because you might see the red bus someday too. You might be tempted to step inside, just to see, just for a second. Maybe it's curiosity. Maybe it's the promise of fixing a mistake you thought was beyond saving. Maybe it will even wear the face of someone you love, smiling from a window seat, patting the spot beside them. Don't get on. Don't even look at it. Because the bus doesn't just take you. It hollows you out, piece by piece, until all that's left is a smiling, empty shell riding endless dark roads you'll never recognize again. And by the time you realize you're seated, by the time you feel the cracked leather pressing into your back and the sour air filling your lungs, it'll already be too late. The wheels are turning. The doors are closing. The bell is ringing. And your name, your true name, is already written on the driver's list. It's inked there in a shade of black so deep it seems to sink into the page, bleeding into the fibers, as if trying to claw its way off the parchment. You could tear the paper, you could burn it, but it wouldn't matter, the red bus remembers. It carves your essence into its walls, into the rattling windows, into the squealing tires. Even if you run, even if you bury yourself in concrete and steel, the engine will still roar to life when it's time. You think you're safe surrounded by others? It doesn't matter. When the red bus comes for you, the crowd parts like mist. Their eyes glaze over. Their hands drop limply to their sides. You're the only thing in the world it can see. I tried to leave town once. Packed my car at sunset, heart hammering, every mirror covered, every clock smashed to pieces. I drove until the fuel gauge hit empty, until the forests turned to endless cornfields under a swollen red moon. I thought I had outrun it. But at 12:07 a.m., as my car sputtered to a stop, the low rumble of a diesel engine filled the air behind me. I turned and saw it, the red bus, idling patiently on the cracked road, doors already folding open with a hiss. No driver visible, no lights inside, only darkness thick enough to choke on. I remember screaming, remember stumbling into the fields, tearing my hands bloody on the stalks as I ran. But the bus didn't follow. It didn't have to. It knew that once you see it, you never really leave. You become a magnet to it. A signal. A flickering red thread winding tighter around your body every second you breathe. Now, every night, I hear the low call of the horn somewhere in the distance, growing nearer, drawing a line through the dark straight to me. Even the air feels different when it's close, heavier, pressing in against my chest, crawling under my skin like thousands of tiny hands trying to pull me downward. And the worst part? I can see them now. The passengers. Through windows smeared with grime and blood, their faces lean against the glass, twisted things, stretched wrong, mouths sewn shut with strands of hair and wire. Their eyes, if they have them, weep black fluid, staring straight ahead without blinking. Some are missing limbs. Some seem barely human at all. Yet they move in unison, their heads turning slowly, mechanically, when the bus approaches a new victim. And when the doors creak open, the whispering begins. They don't scream. They don't cry. They whisper. They whisper your name. Over and over. In voices that sound like loved ones you lost, pets you buried, friends you forgot. The first few nights, I nearly answered without thinking, half asleep, half dreaming. Now, I bury my head under the blankets and hum loudly to drown them out, but it never really works. Their words slip through the cracks, through the walls, into my bloodstream. Come back to your seat. It's waiting. You've always belonged with us. Last night, I woke to find muddy footprints in my hallway, leading from the front door to my bedroom mirror. I never heard the door open. I never heard the locks turn. And in the mirror, faint and flickering, I saw my reflection climbing the steps of the red bus, glancing over its shoulder and smiling at me. Tonight, the house feels colder than ever. The lights flicker no matter how many times I replace the bulbs. My phone keeps buzzing with messages from contacts that don't exist, numbers composed entirely of 6s and 9s. Every message says the same thing. Ready for pickup. As I sit here writing, the floor beneath me hums with vibration, growing stronger by the minute. I know if I glance outside, I'll see it waiting, idling at the curb, steam hissing from the tires, the doors hanging open like a mouth ready to swallow me whole. I could run. I could hide. But it wouldn't matter. I made the mistake of stepping onto that bus once. Of even glancing into its darkness. And now my name is seared into the marrow of its world, called out each night by the ones who rode before me, who thought they could bargain, beg, or fight their way free. The red bus doesn't forget. The red bus doesn't forgive. It simply waits until you're too tired to resist. Until you're too weak to fight the pull. Until, finally, you step into the darkness willingly, and the doors close forever. I think tonight, I won't fight. I'll stand at the curb, shivering in the exhaust fog, and I'll board when they call my name. I'll take my seat, halfway down the aisle, still warm from the last soul who couldn't hold on. And maybe I'll be the one pressing my face against the window next time, smiling that wrong, twitching smile at someone who thinks they're safe. Maybe I'll be the voice they hear in the night, whispering from the corners of their bedroom, calling them home. The red bus is never empty. It just waits. And tonight, it's waiting for me.